Well, it is a damning find in the investigation into the Grenfell Tower fire in London. Investigators say the emergency response had serious shortcomings. 72 people died in the apartment block blaze more than 2 years ago. The report only covers the emergency response, which the judge-led inquiry says had systemic failures and was gravely inadequate. Our London correspondent, Birgit Moss, has more.
Can you hear the people?
Oh my God.
Grenfell Tower in flames. The fire lasted all night. People jumped out of the windows in a desperate attempt to flee the blaze. Joe Delaney lived nearby and filmed it all. He said the firemen couldn't get in because their key didn't fit and they seemed overwhelmed.
It was just chaos because they felt like you could just see that they felt that this was urgent, so they all sort of piled in at once. And some of them went in even without breathing apparatus on. They had no breathing apparatus. Some of them didn't have helmets even. Look, you see there?
Joe Delaney provided his video to the inquiry. He says he wants to see the people responsible for the safety lapses brought to account.
That's literally just getting inside the tower. Yeah. I want, people in handcuffs, people in courtrooms, people in jail cells. I don't want, people in print where it says what they've done wrong, because what use is that?
The inquiry has had about a catalogue of failings that led to the fire spreading uncontrollably, such as fire lifts for the emergency services not working, and also that the building itself did not comply with fire safety regulations. Any criminal convictions, though, that the residents here so desperately want to see are not expected anytime soon. They can only come out of a separate investigation that's being led by the police.
The inquiry report criticises the fire brigade for a series of bad decisions on the night of the fire, with disastrous consequences. But many people blame the local council. They say complaints made before the fire were ignored and that they didn't feel safe.
The flats were neglected, totally neglected, for decades. They had intention to sell it, and therefore they were just probably waiting to phase us all out, spent minimal money on it and gave it minimal attention because it was of minimal worth to them at the time, as were we.
Grenfell occurred in a context of cuts, in a context of privatisation, in a context of deregulation, and in a context of where residents of social housing were not listened to.
Local people hope that there will be real change in the future, and they want to see faults like those in Grenfell Tower remedied in other buildings to avoid a repeat of the disaster.